Event Center. What a wonderful thing. There were 806 students eligible to participate in commencement then. There are 1,258 students planning to participate in our 4 May commencement ceremonies coming up in a couple of weeks. This year will be our first late summer commencement with 277 students expected to graduate in August. That's approximately 2,500 students who will graduate. Now, on the one hand, that's a wonderful accomplishment we're proud of. On the other, we have to go replace them to stay even. So you know how that goes. But we're very excited about this. Our CBU online program continues to receive awards. They're ranked number 23 nationally for the 2018 Best Online Bachelor's Programs, a top 40 ranking for the 6th consecutive year, and the only California college ranked in the top 25 nationwide. We had homecoming in February, and we drew an estimated 5,000 alumni and friends to the campus. The CBU campus publications also continue to receive honors. The Banner and Pursuit magazines were awarded 22 distinctions by the California College Media Association. And this is that time of year where the academic year is just wrapping up, and it's just fun to go and see all the achievements. Some other things that have happened this week. Wednesday, had lunch with the winners of the annual President's Excellence in Writing Award. And all of our students are eligible. Papers that they write in class. And I tell you, these are fantastic writers. It's wonderful. Last night, Jane and I had the pleasure to attend 2 events. CBU has an art gallery on Main Street downtown, and there was a senior exhibit. So we went to see some of the work of our students who are graduating down there. Then we walked over to the black box at the Fox, if you know where that is, right between the parking structure and the Fox Theater. And Harkey is a major leader and supporter of that effort. And when we got ready to watch these short films that our students had done, I think 14 of them, they kept having to bring chairs out. 3, maybe 4 rows brought out. And I asked the lady afterwards who kind of managed it, I said, how many chairs were here? She said 246, every one they had. And there were still some people standing up along the way. Enthusiastic crowd as well. But it was wonderful to see those 14 original films, even an original score or 2 was done. So a lot of talent, very proud. The School of Christian Ministries hosted a dedication ceremony recently for its first $1 million endowed professorship, named in honor of Dr. Glenn and Aline Payton. They are the kind of people that are what we would call California Southern Baptist pioneers. When you look at the history of Baptist in this state, it really kind of starts 2 different times. One is sort of the grapes of wrath, you know, the Dust Bowl in Oklahoma and Arkansas and West Texas, those Okies coming out. A lot of them settled in Bakersfield. That's kind of Oklahoma West. But then after World War II, a lot of these guys were passing through on their way to the South Pacific, and a lot of them came out after that. Well, Aline and Glenn were part of that group that came out. And he is part of kind of that greatest generation kind of folks, you know, so just wonderful. Since 2017, the School of Christian Ministries, since 2017, that's like just not long ago, but in this year and not quite a half, the School of Christian Ministries has received $7.8 million in endowment commitments. So we're thrilled for the growth in that area. Also, we are nearing completion of the new engineering building, set for occupancy at the end of the summer. Dr. Anthony Donaldson is here.
Yeah.
And,
whoa. All right.
I would say if one person were the driving force behind this new building, he's the man. So let's give him a hand. deans are tremendous drivers. They're almost like mini presidents in many ways. When they really function at a high level, you see tremendous results, and we're very proud of our deans here. Our aviation program is soaring. Usually I get a groan. With a fleet of 12 new aircraft. We still kept some of the old ones, but 12 brand new aircraft. And those of you who are into piloting, you'll understand this more than I do, but 8 Piper Archers, 2 Piper Arrows, and 2 Piper Seminoles. Wow. It really enhances our fleet with these new planes. So when you see them overhead, a lot of them, if you look up, will say, what does it say? Fly CBU. Fly CBU. So that's us up there making the noise. But preparing new pilots. The new doctoral program will be launched this coming fall in psychology, a PsyD in clinical psychology. We're very excited to have this come along. And then there's the athletics, continues to excel. Attendance at the men's basketball home games. This would have been impossible in the Van Dyne Gym. But attendance at the men's home basketball games this year exceeded 50,000. Wow. Second overall, most attendance. That's the second overall highest attendance in all of NCAA Division II, which we're saying bye-bye to next in June. So we're entering into a new phase. We're closing out strong this phase and entering into a new phase. Daxton Gordon won a Division II National Wrestling Championship this year. This is the 3rd individual wrestling championship brought home by CBU Lancer, so we're very proud of that. Wrestling coach Lenny Zaleski was inducted into the Iowa Wrestling Hall of Fame earlier this month. Woo! Be inducted into the California Wrestling Hall of Fame next month. He was inducted into the Alaska Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2010. Wow. He also wrestled for a coach that some of you who are familiar with wrestling may know, a guy named Dan Gable. And he was also an assistant coach for him as well. CBU is currently #1 in the nation in the Learfield Cup winter standings. What the Learfield Cup is, it takes each one of the divisions, the NCAA Division 1, 2, 3, and the NAI, and within those it has objective criteria. So it's not a ranking, it's just it's objective criteria. And they take the 7 highest placing women's sports, the 7 highest placing men's sports, and they assign scores to those, and then you get ranked. Last year, CBU finished 2nd. In fact, when we first went into Division II, there's like 300 and something universities in that nationwide. We were number 26. So we were in the top 10% right off the bat. The following year, we were number 16. So I set a goal, said we need to be in the top 10. And we came in at 4. Wow. Last year, we ended up 2. And after the winter, we are number 1. We'll see if we can hold on to that. It's kind of hard because of the way the sports work, but to be ranked number 1, objectively ranked, is quite an honor. Cheer won its 6th straight national championship. They have not lost in team competition since 2013. They are amazing. They have that national championship. They host the national championships every year over in Florida, and but they are just incredible. We also have started some stunt competition, and the competition that we're at, the team that scored the highest, because I think they combined 1 and 2, is the University of Louisville, and they just barely edged us out. We beat all the other D1s and everything, so we're getting ready for that transition across the board. We're going to have a few slides now. Lancer Plaza construction. I want to spend just a few minutes now and give you an overview of our plans for Lancer Plaza. This is the new entrance, what it's going to look like off Adams. So if you were to come across, I guess it's either direction really, but if you were to come across the freeway or off the freeway and you're about to turn into the campus, that's what it would look like. This is where Briarwood is. I think we call this Lancer Lake on our side of the road. This shows the new Lancer Plaza entry viewed from Adams Street. The next slide is an overview of the new Lancer Plaza entry. So it kind of gives you an idea of how we're going to have many more lanes going each direction, and also how it sort of turns and creates some really nice outside seating space. So slide 3, this is another view of the new plaza entry from further south of Adams Street. We're doing that zero scape. It's very good on the water. It's about 10% of having a lawn or something. And then the next slide, this is the final view of the new plaza entry from further south this is the final shot of the entry showing the enhanced outdoor plaza area to the right and the new kiosk to the left. Directly ahead is the existing rec center. Slide 5. This is a direct view to the new enhanced outdoor plaza area just outside our existing campus store. So one of the things about, in Southern California, if you have shade, people will enjoy it. If you don't have shade, it's not so much. So that's what we're taking that information and utilizing it. Slide 6. Now this is an overview of the entire Lancer Plaza. Lancer Plaza, those who've been around a long time, used to be Adams Plaza, so it's totally being redone. This shows the new entrance, thank you. The expansion of the rec center, the new athletic performance center, and the new parking structure on the south end of the plaza and other existing buildings. I think can everybody read those or see where those are? So expansion of the rec center, the next slide. This is a view from Adams Street of the new athletic performance center and the expanded rec center. We are adding 11,200 gross square feet and renovating approximately 6,350 square feet in the rec center. The additions include the following: another basketball court on the first level, new equipment rental room, additional building support spaces, expansion of existing locker rooms to accommodate additional fixtures at the second level, repurposing space on the second floor to house offices, workrooms, and a conference room. Also, removal of existing rock wall at the main entrance and replacing a flooring to accommodate additional cardio area. On the next slide, this is where we're going with a larger athletic performance center. If you know where that is now, the rec center, I see some head nodding, don't explain it. Okay, got it. But it's around the corner there. But so this is a view of the new athletic performance center from the corner of the new parking structure. So this is what it would look like. The current facility is 2,500 square feet, and the new facility will be approximately 12,500 square feet, so 5 times the size. Additions include open floor area equipped to serve student athletes, including a 6-lane running track and weightlifting equipment, nutrition oasis center, 3 offices, storage, and lockers. The next slide, this is another view of the new athletic performance center as seen from the new parking structure. The next slide, this shows the overview of the entire plaza again, orienting you to the location of the new parking structure at the corner of Diana Avenue and Adams Street. Diana Avenue runs parallel with the freeway, the 91 freeway. So the parking structure, next slide. This first slide shows an elevated view of the parking structure from Adams Street, looking southwest with the new athletic performance center to the right. The new structure will have 5 levels with approximately 1,450 parking spaces. The next slide, this is a street view of the structure, again from Adams Street, looking in a southwest direction if standing at Baker's. So if you think about it, that's what it would look like. And then the next slide, this last slide shows the view of the parking structure from Diana Avenue and the 91 freeway. And if you know, when I drive by, I always have to look, you know, and see. You get a better view of the campus on the 91 if you're headed east. If you're going west, you know, you're kind of in a hole, and then you have the overpass, and then you rise, but it's kind of hard to even see the current building very much. But if you're coming east, you have a very nice view once you before you hit Monroe, because you're elevated coming over there. So, but this is what it would look like. And I used to come to work down Adams, so I like to hit. I usually don't like to hit a light, but I don't mind hitting the light on the other side of the freeway. I can just, you know, sit there for a couple minutes and look at the event center. So parking structure, and we've done the demo work. We're kind of holding now to get through the end of the semester commencement and all of that, and then they will commence. And this should be online by next summer. So you'll begin to see it going up pretty quickly. As you can see, these continue to be exciting times at California Baptist University. And we continue to be thankful to each of you for your partnership in furthering the mission of CBU. Thank you so much, and Lance up.
Thank you, Dr. Ellis. Whole lot going on around here, and that just sort of scratches the surface. I think Dr. Ellis could speak for another hour straight on projects and exciting things happening and awards, and so thanks for that wonderful update. Well, now I'm pleased to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Chuck Sands, the founding dean for the College of Allied Health, now Health Science. In addition, he is a management consultant for Bohua Hospital in China. Dr. Sands received his BS degree from Samford University and both his MA in education and his PhD in public health from the University of Alabama at Birmingham, Alabama. You don't say it.
No, I don't. You did that well. I can turn it on if you need me to.
Okay. Prior to his arrival at California Baptist University, Dr. Sands taught at both Samford University and the University of Alabama at Birmingham. He also served as a manager in outpatient rehabilitation at St. Vincent's Hospital in Birmingham. And Dr. Sands and his wife Jennifer have 4 children, 2 of whom attend CBU while the other 2 are in high school, and so maybe we'll have 2 more Sands children here at some point in the future attending CBU. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Chuck Sands.
So if it's okay with you, I don't have anything to read or a PowerPoint slide, so I'm going to stand up here. Can you hear me in the back? Yes. I'm usually pretty good. I see Bob nodding, so that's a good sign. So I have 2 observations. One, following the presentation we just had, I'm so excited about the future of CBU, but I'm also balancing the fact that what's between me, you and the wrestling coach is me. So the wrestling coach can take me out, so I'm going to be quick and then move on to him and then also our student. I'm going to talk a little bit about, so that's a nice segue. What I want to focus on really is our students and the work that they do while they're here, and then what it is that differentiates them when they get out beyond this institution. So you can appreciate that it would make sense that we would focus on that, but we're very intentional and very deliberate about the way in which we train them. So academically, socially, emotionally, spiritually, physically, all of these things are taken into consideration as we really want to try to mold and shape future citizens that are just going to have a positive impact on our local community and then certainly around the world. So one of the things I observe is that when I talk with parents or maybe people in the business community like yourself, many of them already automatically assume that if they come here, they're going to get a good education. Well, I have to tell you, as the provost and vice president for academic affairs, I like that assumption. The assumption is, so what are they asking about? What are they looking for? They're assuming that if I come here and choose engineering, that when I graduate, I'm going to be more than just competent from an engineering perspective. That if I go through our nursing program, I'm really going to be good at doing what? At nursing. So I love that assumption. But what I would say to you is you could probably get that kind of response or expectation at a lot of different universities. So what we want to do is focus on, so what differentiates our students? What makes them who they are and what makes them unique? So there are a lot of things that we could think about. Some of them, we spend a lot of time assessing our students. You can appreciate that. So we assess them on things like their ability to communicate. So whether that's written communication, oral communication, very important thing. Another thing we assess would be, are they able to consume information well? Can they think critically? Well, again, you would assume that lots of places would do that, but we place significant emphasis on those things. But one of the things that maybe differentiates us is a very intentional approach in the area of what we might call ethical reasoning. So one of the ways in which we challenge our students is not just academically, not just from the perspective of, do you have the content, do you understand the material, can you articulate it back to me, but how do you view that information and how do you share it with others? How do you make decisions about what is right and wrong from every perspective? You can open up the newspaper today, or today most of you probably open your phone and scroll, and the unfortunate challenge is that much of what we see that may be reported negatively has everything to do with ethical reasoning. It's not that people weren't competent from the perspective of their discipline. Maybe they're really good at being an engineer or a nurse or a businessman or a teacher. They compromise themselves on this idea of ethical reasoning. So one of my favorite things to do when I'm out in the community and I meet people who say, wow, we have some of your CBU students, or we have a graduate, I ask them, well, tell me about them. What is it about them that you find so either encouraging or unique? And the answers we're getting relate to what I'm talking about right now. So even all the way down to some basic things that some of us might consider to be common sense or common expectations, but really encouraging, like they show up for work on time. You know, they dress appropriately. They do what they're expected to do, and in many cases, they go beyond what is expected of them. Another thing I love hearing is when they say, no, actually, one of the unique characteristics is the students that come from CBU, whether an intern or maybe a graduate, is they're looking for things that need to be done without having to be told. So again, that's not a competency from a can you do math or can you write or can you actually finish a particular task. That has everything to do with who a person is and how we cultivate that while they're here. So our desire again is to focus on competency at a very, very high level. And we do that really, really well. So much of what you saw in the slides are designed to do what? To provide an atmosphere and experience for them to really continue to excel. So again, the idea is our graduates are doing great things in the community. We hope that they're engaging with some of you out in our local community and in the region. And again, our emphasis is really going to be one that says, how do we continue to challenge them from an ethical perspective? Because today we know that this is one of the best places, in my opinion, for them to begin, either maybe not begin, but sometimes begin, engaging in these deep and difficult conversations. Parents will come and talk to me and they will say, well, I'm concerned from a spiritual perspective that my son or daughter may be asking some difficult questions. Or maybe they're coming and saying, I'm not sure my son or daughter really is interested in faith of any kind. And I smile and I say, what better place for them to engage in those kinds of conversations than in an institution where it's safe for them to engage in that, where they can learn, again, the competencies, but also then being reinforced around this idea of ethical reasoning, a biblical worldview, and an opportunity where they go out and just have a positive impact. So when I think about what our students are doing in the community, I'm encouraged. I hope you are. I'm encouraged because I do get to spend time in the community. I love when I bump into a student and I don't know they're a student, and then we figure out there's a CBU relationship. Or maybe I'm at a restaurant and someone is maybe serving me and I find out they're a current CBU student. And one of the things, again, I love is there's just a little bit something unique and different about them. And it has much more to do with who they are and a little bit less about what they can do. And I love that concept because we're pushing on what they can do. We want them to do things well, but we want it based on good, sound, ethical reasoning and from our perspective, a positive biblical worldview. So we're excited about the future, and I appreciate the chance to share very briefly about a couple of quick updates. But I want to get out of the way of the wrestling coach because he's a Hall of Famer and I'm not. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Sands. Great summary of who our students are and the types of things they're doing, and like you said, it's who they are. It's important what they do, but it's important who they are. Well, our next speaker, Coach Lenny Zaleski, you've heard some wonderful updates on him from Dr. Ellis. He's here to give us an update on the CBU wrestling program. Coach Zaleski's first season as head coach at CBU was in 2012. And by 2013, he had led the Lancers to a NCAA National Championship. This past year, CBU Wrestling enjoyed one of its best seasons at the NCAA level, winning its second Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference and Super Region 4 championships, finishing third at the NCAA Division II championship and seeing its third straight individual NCAA champion. Under Coach Zaleski, the Lancers have seen 30 wrestlers take All-American honors along with 7 individual national championships. Pretty remarkable since 2012. And we have heard, I'm going to repeat this because I just think it's really great. So due to Coach's success both here at CBU and then obviously before he came here, he was inducted into the Iowa Wrestling Hall of Fame in April. He'll be inducted into the California Wrestling Hall of Fame in May. And he was also inducted into the Alaska Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2010. And this is truly a monumental achievement for one individual in one career to be inducted into these Hall of Fames literally across the country. Not quite coast to coast, but Midwest, West, North. So congratulations on that, Coach. And please come on up. Join me in congratulating and welcoming.
Well, thank you. You know, I often go to a wrestling tournament and I'll sit down, a coach will approach me and, you know, we'll start talking about his season and how successful he was and the reason behind that, and he usually kind of goes into something about like, well, it's like kind of adopted this philosophy and because of that, you know, we had all the success. Well, you know, I just want to preface this. I'm going to talk about our success here, but you know, as a Christian coach, our success totally comes, we believe, from the gift of God, with His ability that He gives us, the Spirit that He enlivens us, and I think He's just blessed this team, and you know, just through the year, and so as I go through this, I'm going to just keep that in mind. But anyway, for the last, you know, I was going to actually talk. I think you mentioned a few of my accomplishments, or the team's accomplishments. But I'll just kind of review that. And so we were in the RMAC for 4 years, and for those years we went for second. We were twice. We were first twice. We took the regions, the championship twice, and second once. In the NCAA's, we finished of the 4 of the years as 12th, 6th, 3rd, and 3rd. We had 25 qualifiers in the 5 years, which would average about 5 per year, which is half our team actually made the NCAA's. Of the 25, 15 would become All-Americans. Of those 15, 8 would make the NCAA finals. And if you take the average of what we did, it was every of those All-Americans, the average 3rd. Off the mat, we placed in the top 20 academic teams every year. We placed 1st, 5th, 9th, 14th, and 17th. We had 30 academic All-Americans over the 5-year period. 2 of them are sitting right there. Then the last 3 years, all years that we were in the RMAC, we're actually only in the RMAC 4 of those years. But we had the RMAC Academic Summit Award winner in the last 4 years. We also had the RMAC Summit Athletic Champion, the outstanding wrestler of the last 4 years as well. We also, Nolan, who's going to get up and speak, he has won the academic award, the Elite 90 award, the last 3 years. And he was only eligible those 3 years, and he might have won it his freshman year as well. But anyway, you know, shortly after I became a Christian, I was actually at the University of Iowa, and I probably became a Christian for 6 months, and Coach Gable called me in the office, and I was also wrestling at the time internationally, and he said, "Hey Lenny, we also at that particular time had a coach from a famous football coach from the state of Texas, who actually came into the University of Iowa and just turned the program around, overnight. And I think within like 4 or 5 years, he won 2 Rose Bowls, and anyway, but he had a huge effect on the athletic program. But Coach Gable actually called me in and he said, "Hey, Coach, or Lenny," he goes, "I want to talk to you a little bit about your Christian walk." And he said, "I just got done talking with Coach Fry, and if you're going to continue to wrestle, you need to really maybe put off this Christianity thing, because we were talking, and Christianity actually really takes the fight out of the athlete." So these are 2 big time coaches as well. So since that time, I kind of had there's nothing that I think is farther from the truth. I think the biblical character and some of the characters in the Bible would be incredible recruits. Probably the exact character we're actually looking for.
Well, thank you, Dr. Sands. Great summary of who our students are and the types of things they're doing, and like you said, it's who they are. It's important what they do, but it's important who they are. Well, our next speaker, Coach Lenny Zaleski, you've heard some wonderful updates on him from Dr. Ellis. He's here to give us an update on the CBU wrestling program. Coach Zaleski's first season as head coach at CBU was in 2012, and by 2013, he had led the Lancers to a NCAA national championship. This past year, CBU wrestling enjoyed one of its best seasons at the NCAA level, winning its 2nd Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference and Super Region 4 championships, finishing 3rd at the NCAA Division II championship, and seeing its 3rd straight individual NCAA champion. Under Coach Zaleski, the Lancers have seen 30 wrestlers take All-American honors, along with 7 individual national championships. Pretty remarkable since 2012. And we have heard, I'm going to repeat this because I just think it's really great. So due to Coach's success both here at CBU and then obviously before he came here, he was inducted into the Iowa Wrestling Hall of Fame in April. He'll be inducted into the California Wrestling Hall of Fame in May, and he was also inducted into the Alaska Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2010, and this is truly a monumental achievement for one individual in one career to be inducted into these Hall of Fames literally across the country, not quite coast to coast, but Midwest, West, North. So congratulations on that, Coach, and please come on up, join me in congratulating and welcoming.
Well, thank you. I often go to a wrestling tournament and I'll sit down, a coach will approach me, and we'll start talking about his season and how successful he was and the reason behind that, and he usually kind of goes into something about it's I kind of adopted this philosophy, and because of that, we had all the success. Well, I just want to preface this. I'm going to talk about our success here, but as a Christian coach, our success totally comes, we believe, from the gift of God, with His ability that He gives us, the Spirit that He enlivens us, and I think He's just blessed this team, and just through the year, and so as I go through this, I'm going to just keep that in mind. But anyway, for the last, I was going to actually talk. I think you mentioned a few of my accomplishments, or the team's accomplishments. But I'll just kind of review that. And so we were in the RMAC for 4 years, and for those years we went for 2nd. We were twice. We were first twice. We took the regions, the championship twice, and 2nd once. In the NCAAs, we finished of the 4 of the years as 12th, 6th, 3rd, and 3rd. We had 25 qualifiers in the 5 years, which would average about 5 per year, which is half our team actually made the NCAAs. Of the 25, 15 would become All-Americans. Of those 15, 8 would make the NCAA finals. And if you take the average of what we did, it was every of those All-Americans, they averaged 3rd. off the mat, we placed in the top 20 academic teams every year. We placed first, fifth, 9th, 14th, and 17th. We had 30 academic All-Americans over the 5-year period. 2 of them are sitting right there. Then the last 3 years, all years that we were in the RMAC, we're actually only in the RMAC 4 of those years. But we had the RMAC Academic Summit Award winner in the last 4 years. We also had the RMAC Summit Athletic Champion, the outstanding wrestler of the last 4 years as well. We also, Nolan, who's going to get up and speak, he has won the academic award, the Elite 90 award, the last 3 years. And he was only eligible those 3 years, and he might have won it his freshman year as well. But anyway, shortly after I became a Christian, I was actually at the University of Iowa, and I probably became a Christian for 6 months, and Coach Gable called me in the office, and I was also wrestling at the time internationally, and he said, "Hey Lenny, we also at that particular time had a coach from a famous football coach from the state of Texas, who actually came into the University of Iowa and just turned the program around, overnight. And I think within like 4 or 5 years, he won 2 Rose Bowls, and anyway, but he had a huge effect on the athletic program. But Coach Gable actually called me in and he said, "Hey, Coach, Lenny," he goes, "I want to talk to you a little bit about your Christian walk." And he said, "I just got done talking with Coach Fry, and if you're going to continue to wrestle, you need to really maybe put off this Christianity thing, because we were talking, and Christianity actually really takes the fight out of the athlete." So these are 2 big-time coaches as well. So since that time, I kind of had there's nothing that I think is farther from the truth. I think the biblical character and some of the characters in the Bible would be incredible recruits. Probably the exact character actually looking for, to the sense that anytime I coach and this particular wrestler is a Christian, I'll kind of make a note of that, to the person. Man, that guy's really unbelievable. He's pretty involved in his church, kind of over the years, but you don't have to do that at CBU. You kind of have that branded on you, you might say. So we're at the national tournament this year, and we're sitting outside waiting for the tournament to begin, and my wife Maria's there, and this couple from Iowa that had their sons wrestle at Iowa, and underneath my brother, came up and they started talking, and I asked what you're here for, and they said, "Oh, we're here for our nephew. He's actually wrestling." And I said, "Oh, really? What weight?" And he said, 149. And I said, "Oh, really?" "Yeah." And he said, "Oh, yeah, he's got some kid from some Baptist school. I don't know." and I'm looking at him because I'm not sure he didn't know I was coaching him, and I'm looking at him like if he's kind of pulling one on me, and he goes, "Yeah." He goes, I said, "Yeah." He goes, "How tough can a kid be from a Baptist school?" And I'm still looking at him like you're gonna. I'm not sure if he's joking. And then my wife's sitting there, which she goes, "Which one is it?" She goes, "Oh, someplace out, maybe California Baptist." And he goes, "Yeah, that's it, California Baptist." And so I'm looking at him, still not sure he's joking or not. She goes, "Well, Lenny coaches there." And he says, "Oh, I'm sure it'll be a good match." Well, anyway, that was our national champion. So he ends up actually Daxton Gordon. He drew him, and actually Daxton Gordon pinned him. And he watched this guy continue to watch the tournament. We had 3 in the final, so maybe his perspective of Baptist is a little bit different than what it was on the map. Yeah. But I want to introduce one of my wrestlers here that's been incredible pleasure to coach. He's succeeded not only in 3 areas. that you basically occupy while you're here, in the room, in the classroom, and outside the classroom. He's also, in addition to his academics, which I'll talk about, he's also been our SAC rep, and he took our team. I mean, he might take all the credit for this, but he took our team from, I think we were like kind of towards the bottom, to winning the SAC competition for all the athletic teams here. But he also, in addition to his these accomplishments he's had here, he's also when we go travel, our competition just happens to just love this guy. The Colorado Mesa School especially coached, and he's always talking about how great a guy this guy is. And by the way, all our guys, I get compliments all the time about how great our athletes are. Awards, academic. And I was kind of going over him, and he fits that category. So Nolan was a 3-time academic All-American. He set the school record here with 93 wins. He's the first student to win the Elite 90 award, which is the best athlete student, highest GPA in that given sport competing at the NCAAs. And he's the only one to win that in the same sport of any ever. He's also, he's a criminal justice major and is set to graduate with honors and summa cum laude. He won 3 Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference Summit Award as the academic award. He's also he was chosen last year to be, and this is I think one of the greatest awards, is he was chosen to be on the CASIDA academic All-American team. And what that is, they pick 26 students of all 90 sports. They pick 26 of those, and of those 26, Nolan was one of them. Anyway, Nolan's been just a pleasure in every respect to coach. And without any further ado, let me join me in congratulating and welcoming Nolan Kister.
Well, hello there. It's very, very flattering, Coach. It's awesome I just appreciate everybody congratulating on me and my success, but I just wanted to share a little story so you guys could kind of think of how far I've come. But as a freshman, I remember we were traveling to Arizona, I believe, and we were doing Grand Canyon University, and I remember walking out onto the mat to wrestle this kid, and I had no headgear and I had my shorts on, and Coach looks at me, "Hey, are you gonna put your headgear on before your match?" And yeah, it was embarrassing, and it was a weird moment for me, but I've come a long way due to the mentorship of Coach Z, Micah Parker, my dad, my mom. I grew up here in Riverside, so I've had the opportunity to still receive love and mentorship from my parents, and but it's been a journey. And I wanted to speak on one thing. I completely agree with Dr. Sands that there is something unique about CBU students, and at first I couldn't really put the hammer on the nail of what exactly that was, but he kind of shed some light on that. And I think a lot of it has to do with the way in which we deal with challenges and adversity. And one thing I was taught by Coach Z, my dad, what defines you is how you react to the moments of challenges and adversity. My brother especially, we've gone through a lot together, and I think those moments are what defines you. It's those moments where you have to dig deep. And one thing I noticed in my own experiences, those were the moments where I had to rely on God. I couldn't rely on my own strength. And I think someone told me that it's the greatest, I'm sorry, freezing up, my bad. I'm really nervous to be in front of all these. I'm really nervous to be in front of all you great people and everything. But they said, the bigger your dragon, the greater your story. And it's about how you deal with those moments of adversity and overcome them. And that's the greatest thing that I've learned from my experience here at CBU. I want to thank everybody for coming out, and I'm honored to be part of this. Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. That's great to hear from you and to hear about your success. And thank you, Coach Zaleski, for your updates. The success of your student athletes, both in competition and in academics, and as you said, on and off the mat.
Paul?
Really significant.
And
Yes.
this is the other young man too here.
Yes, Nolan's brother. Why don't you stand? Thank you. Harlan, yeah. And so, Harlan, you graduated 2 years ago?
No, last May.
Last May,
2017.
and now you're in the NBA program.
Yes, sir.
Here at CBU, so a former wrestler as well.
Ask Nolan what's next. Nolan, what's next?
Law school, sir, yes.
All right.
Very good. Where are you going?
Chapman University. I take the LSAT in July, on July 23rd, so I still have some choices to make there. But
Good.
hoping to stay local and receive some more help from my dad and everything.
All right. Very good. Financial and otherwise. No, you didn't say that. Yeah, and your dad is an attorney as well. So yeah, and mom and dad are here. Mr. and Ms. Harlan, thank you for being with us. Very good. Well, thank you again for joining us. It's always our hope that through the Board of Visitors, we can help you all identify different areas on campus of interest, where you may want to engage more significantly. So please, let us know how we can help you connect, how we can help you engage with the work that is happening here at CBU. Thank you to those of you who've already renewed your Board of Visitors membership this year. If you have any questions regarding your current status with Board of Visitors, or if you're a guest who's interested in joining our group, please see Brian Bunnell. And let me just say that Brian plans this whole thing, does a really great job. So Brian, we appreciate you. Thank you again for joining us, and we are dismissed.